こんばんは。ForexTV ニューヨークのレミです。1月30日水曜日の為替レポートニューヨークレビューをお伝えします。30日のアメリカ株式市場は反落しました。ダウ平均は前日比37ドル47セント安の 12,442 ドル83セントで終えた。ナスダック総合株価指数は 9.06 ポイント安の2349ポイントで終えた。午後に FRB は米連邦公開市場委員会 FOMC で 0.5% の利下げを決定したと発表しました。フェデラルファンド金利は 3% へ引き下げられました。 FRB の追加利下げを好感して株式市場は大幅高となる場面もありました。だが金融保証会社モノラインに関する悪材料を受けて売りが優勢となりました。ニューヨーク為替市場でドル円は106円台前半に急落、ユーロ円も157円台に下落しました。リスク回避の動きで円買いが優勢となり、ドル円クロス円は一気に下落しました。ドル円は前日比円高ドル安の106円27銭で取引を終えた。またユーロ円は円高ユーロ安の157円92銭で取引を終えた。それでは CMC マーケッツのアシュラフ・ライーディさんとのインタビューをご覧ください。Well, the Fed reduced both the Fed funds rate and the discount rate by 50 basis points. This means the benchmark interest rate is at 3% now. And we did have one person on the monetary committee dissent, and that was the Fed's Fisher. But if you could tell us about the comments post FOMC and if we've seen any divergence in their language today.
I like to use the metaphor, which is basically everybody in the elections is talking about calling the troops home from Iraq. And I think the Fed here, they decided to take the troops from out of the war against inflation and take them to the war against recession or contraction, because the only few words they had on inflation was that inflation figures continue to improve, but we have to watch it closely. They still use the word as the language was pretty much the same. The only thing really they just took out was appreciable, referring to appreciable market distress or market declines during the intermeeting rate cut of last week. But Remy, the fact that they did 225 basis points in 8 days, this is unprecedented. And the fact that the stock market failed to close higher, this is a big problem.
Well, indeed, given the intermeeting rate cut we had last Tuesday of 75 basis points and 50, that brings the total to 125 basis points.
Sorry.
No problem, Ashra. So let's talk about how this translates into price action for the U.S. dollar. Euro dollar hit a high of 1.4905 today, but it still hasn't hit the record high. So given that now we have the Fed decision out of the way and we have NFP coming up later this week, do you think we'll see a new high as well as break above 150?
There is a chance we could do that. Yes, there is. And tomorrow is the consumer spending, personal consumption. And it is expected to go from 1.1 to 0.1. So there's a very good chance that it's going to go from 1.1 to -0. And that's a very bad sign, because that's what everybody's worried about. What does it mean for the consumer? And if that number comes in at 8:30 tomorrow below, you're going to see dollar yen hit across the board. Euro, we could really go above 149. 149.40, 149.80, and there's a good chance that we could, if the ISM on Friday after if the payrolls, if unemployment remains above 5%, and if the ISM remains below 50, definitely we could see 150. Oh yes. But I do like the actually euro. I would really like to play euro versus the sterling also. Yeah. But maybe we can talk about that later. I think you have the charts there. Okay.
Yes, we do. Okay, well, since you just brought up euro sterling, let's move on to that currency pair. Rate differentials at this point in time are being closely watched. So if you could give us your forecast for euro sterling right now.
Yeah, the euro sterling, I put a chart there and I said 94.90. I think we are now 94. We went from 94.60 to 94.70. That means the €1 euro is worth 94 pence, 0.7. We all know the sterling went up and everything went up against the US dollar, but we all know about the fundamentals are really weak in the UK. Yes. But when these numbers come in and when the ECB is telling us that that we have to be firmly against inflation, especially tomorrow we're going to see inflation above 3% tomorrow 5 a.m. in the Eurozone. I think there is a very good chance that we could go, back towards above 70, 75, and all the way to 70, 75, 20. So that's why I like the euro, but particularly against sterling. And against the yen, I'm not so excited against that. Why is that? Why is that? Because the fact that the stock market today failed to break above 1370 and actually ended lower. Risk appetite is so sick, meaning that that is good news for the yen. So you don't want to really buy anything against the yen.
以上 CMC マーケッツのアシュラフ・ライーディさんとのインタビューでした。ForexTV ニューヨークのレミがお伝えしました。最新の為替情報については ForexTV ジャパンをご覧ください。